What's up, YouTube? We got quite the nice pile of hardware on the table today. This build is actually not for me, it's for a buddy of mine, Punman Kevin, but I'm very excited to be putting this computer together for him. It's his first real build, and the thing I'm most excited about is to use some AMD hardware for a change, because it's been a lot of Intel stuff lately. I'm really getting tired of it. Nothing wrong with it, but to me this is pretty exciting today, so stay tuned. Here's the case we settled on for this build. It's the Corsair 200R. Pretty nice full ATX case. It does not have any side windows, just has, as you can see in this little exploded diagram, a vented side panel, which I think my buddy was like me. He prefers the more industrial look as opposed to something flashy and, you know, that's going to look very tacky probably in a couple years. This case will still look pretty clean, I think, down the road.
Not so bad.
Alright. Brand new case. Whoa, we got styrofoam on the table there. Case shovel. Here's the motherboard we settled on for this build. I'm personally preferential to the ASRock brand. I've had pretty good luck with them. They've been very reliable in my experience. And this board here is, even though it's a gaming board, the Fatality line is kind of no frills, doesn't have tons of fancy RGB or anything like that. It's mostly just business, and that's what we're looking for here. And it was very cost effective. We got it on sale at Newegg, I think, for $84.99. And the thing I was most pleased with when it showed up was that it is Ryzen 3000 ready, so not going to have to do any BIOS updates, because I don't have any AMD CPUs laying around for the AM4 socket.
Oh, we got two of these?
Yeah, it's got two M2 slots.
Huh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
One's a SATA.
This is the...
One's a NVMe's.
outside covering?
Yeah, the I/O shield. Hey, knock it off with that styrofoam over there.
Oh, Sonic. Oh, dang. So, that's the audio chip?
That's probably the audio chip there. That's
okay.
just the connector for it. Yeah, you can see the traces go over there.
Oh, that's interesting. Reminds me a lot of circuitry.
And it's a lot of circuits on one board.
Case.
Really nice looking motherboard. Has 4 memory slots. Pretty beefy looking VRM heatsink for a board in this price range. Good connectivity, not overboard, but more than enough for what we're going to need. Has the reinforced PCI Express X16 slot, 2 M2 slots. So really just a no frills performance motherboard. Excited to install this chip and get to work. Here's the memory we settled on for this build. Pretty fast, but the price was right on it, and the word on the street is this next year memory prices are going to go up, so we went ahead and pulled the trigger on a little bit more high performance kit. Should be more than enough for this build. Here's the drives we'll be connecting. Just a basic DVD burner, because I'm old school and I think my buddy is a little bit too, and still likes to have an optical drive. And actually I think the Windows installation media this time came on a DVD. And here's the operating system drive, boot drive. This is the Silicon Power brand. I've looked at this brand before, but never actually had any of their products, even though I was curious about them. It does have a very nice warranty and good reviews online, so we'll see how it performs, I guess. Here's the power supply we'll be going with for this build. It's a non-modular power supply, but very nice nonetheless. 80 plus bronze, EVGA. Power supplies have been excellent value in my experience and have a pretty nice warranty.
It's a lot of cables.
Yeah. This is actually the only used part other than the optical drive going in this build, and you really could not tell that this thing has even been used at all. It must be extremely low hours because there's no dust on any of the fans or fingerprints you can pick up. It's an RX 590 in case you're wondering. I'm pretty partial to the Power Color brand myself. I have a Power Color card in my main computer. This is what we're both pretty excited about. It's a Ryzen 5 3600. He was initially looking at the 2700, which does have 2 additional cores, but this chip actually performs better on Passmark, and we will just be using the stock cooler. We did end up going with Windows 10 Pro for this build, as you can see, because they had it on sale, and the OEM Windows 10 Pro was actually a little bit cheaper than the OEM Windows 10 Home, so no reason not to upgrade when it's actually less money. And my buddy doesn't really plan on swapping stuff out of this system in the future, so I don't think it'll be a problem just going with the OEM install. He plans to just get this system put together and run with it. Alright, it's in there.
Nice.
I must say I really prefer this AMD mounting system to the Intel pushpin style. This is much more confidence inspiring. It has the nice solid metal backing plate and screws. We did have to reorient the fan shroud so that the AMD logo will be facing towards the top of the case, but not a big deal at all. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Money shot.
Nice.
Alright, the motherboard's prepped for installation in the case. I've got the SSD installed and also the memory, CPU, and everything.
Looks
You
good.
ready? You ready for this?
Yeah, man.
Here's the inside of this Corsair 200R case. It's an excellent case, really good value for the money, has a solid feel and nice aesthetics to it, pretty good cable management options. I also like how they include the hardware in the little box in one of the drive bays there, kind of nice instead of just throwing it in the bottom of the case bouncing around. And unless you're trying to do liquid cooling, which the clearance near the top of the case is a little bit tight for, this is really a good case for just about anyone who's trying to put a system together. You don't even have to angle it into this case, it's so big. Just gotta make sure that all our I/O plugs in correctly. Like everything on the top side, this should be. Alright. Fully seated, ready to be screwed down. This one has one of these nice locating pegs that holds it in place while you put the screws in, so you're not fighting against the tension of the I/O shield trying to push the motherboard back. Pretty nice design feature about this case. Better let that kitty in. I don't know if you can hear her meowing in the background. Alright, the motherboard's mounted in the case. Looking really good. Should be a great performer, I think. Unfortunately, though, this is another one of these slightly undersized ATX boards that doesn't utilize the last 3 standoff points over here. So, unfortunately, with these, you do get a lot of flex in the board when you install the 24-pin power connector, and you have to be careful because it can actually cause these memory modules to come loose from their sockets when you plug the connector in. It's just something to be mindful of. Now it's starting to look like a computer.
Now it is. Is it supposed to? Oh, it is supposed to bulge out like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, screw holes are lined up over here. I'm going to attach it with screws too, just because I don't like those little... See if you don't... Well, this one's actually got... No, yeah, see, it can slide in and out still a little bit. I don't like that. So I'm going to utilize these screw mounting holes on both sides.
Okay.
Just to keep it nice and secure. They look like... Are these the CD-ROM ones? I guess I'll find out. No, they're not.
Nice.
Pretty nice fit, almost completely squared up, so I think I'm happy with that. Okay, all the parts are installed that are going to go into this build. Just need to wire everything up and try and do a decent looking job of it, and of course test this system out. Finishing up the wiring now, just got to make these front panel connections. Quick tip, if you're old like me or your motherboard writing is just excessively tiny on it like this motherboard, use a phone camera to take a picture of the pinout so you have an easier time making the right connections. Alright, we got everything put together, we think. This is the unscripted first power on test. I'm going to flip the switch on the power supply to turn it on and give the case power switch a press. And sounds like we've got some life. We got some lights glowing on the motherboard, fans spinning, not at an absurd rate, so that's a good sign. And hopefully we get some video out. Oh, well, it would probably help to plug into the video card and not the onboard video, which it does not have. We'll be back.
And now.
Alright. Well, I was on the wrong HDMI ports. Let's try this again. We haven't turned the computer off. Let's see if we're in the BIOS one.
I was checking signal.
Shove this cable right in.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What does it say? New CPU installed?
So it's that thing.
It says, give me something to boot into. Let's reset it.
Is that a bad thing?
No. I just thought it would go straight into the setup, but it did not. We'll just have to manually enter it. Let me in. Let me in. There we go. In the BIOS. 16 gigs of memory detected. Currently only running at 2133. We'll have to enable XMP and some other stuff, but the hardware works. So we're probably going to go ahead and run MemTest 86 on it first before we install Windows, just to make sure everything is stable.
Nice.
CPU's reading is a little warm already though, surprisingly. Considering it's just idling, just starting out. But we'll see. Sometimes the BIOS temperature sensors will vary from the ones you get from the hardware monitoring programs in the operating system, so we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Alright, I think my flash drive with MemTest 86 on it got corrupted, but I said, what the heck, and we just popped the Windows 10 installation DVD in, and we'll see where we can get from here, I guess. I do like those red LEDs on the motherboard. Not sure if it's RGB or if it's just red only, but I like the breathing effect these ASRock motherboards have, because you get an indicator that the motherboard's alive too. I have a few motherboards that don't have any lights on them at all to tell you that the system's actually powered on. Pretty nice and quiet setup so far too. It's definitely a little more sluggish off this DVD versus installing off a USB drive, but not too bad so far. I'm just really happy, since this is a friend's build, that we haven't had any real hiccups so far. Everything seems to be working pretty well. I really want to just get into the OS so I can try out some different programs and get everything configured for them. Mischief is afoot while Windows is installing. Alright, we've got the cables mostly managed. I don't think it's going to win any awards or anything like that, but everything's out of the way. And the wires on the back side of the case aren't pushing on the side panel or anything like that, so we just got a little bit more configuring to do in the BIOS and operating system, and the system really should be good to go. We'll do a little bit of testing with it here in just a second and just see how it plays some games. Not too bad on the boot up. Just updating the BIOS to the latest version 3.90. That's always a welcome sight, especially when you forget to plug the computer into an uninterruptible power supply for this procedure. Oh, and also when you've got cats running around the house acting like crazy. Alright, you can see that this thing's doing really good so far. I don't have any speakers connected at the moment. It's been quite a bit of configuring, but it's playing this 1080p 60 frames HDR video, no sweat. Alright, we're running on medium details now, 1080p, and it's averaging well above 60 frames, so definitely pretty good overall. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like and leave a comment down below, and subscribe to this channel for future audio and computer related stuff.